What would you do if the person you trusted most looked you in the eye and said, "Move out if you want, I don't care"? Tonight, you'll hear the story of a man who didn't just hear those words. He lived them. A story of betrayal hidden in everyday smiles, of a marriage that crumbled not with a fight, but with silence, lies, and one devastating choice. This isn't just about leaving a house. It's about leaving a life behind. Welcome to Breakup, Cheater, where real hearts break, dark truths unfold, and every story leaves a mark you won't forget. Here we peel back the layers of betrayal, love lost, and the moments that change lives forever. If you've ever felt the sting of heartbreak or the chill of a cold goodbye, you're in the right place. I stared at the half-packed suitcase on the bedroom floor, my hands trembling as I held a shirt I didn't remember folding. It felt foreign, absurd even, like I was watching someone else's life unravel in slow motion. But this was my life, my marriage, my home. And it all started 3 nights ago, with a sentence I can't get out of my head. "Move out if you want," she spat, her voice dripping with that cruel, mocking laughter she reserved for the moment she wanted to cut me down. "You think I care?" At the time I thought it was just another argument. Married couples fight. Words get thrown. But now I know those words were not the product of heat. They were a confession hiding in plain sight. The beginning of the crack. My name is Adam, 36 years old, married to Claire for almost 7 years. I thought we were stable, boring even. We had our routines. Friday movie nights, Sunday breakfasts at the cafe down the street, her chamomile tea before bed, my black coffee at dawn. But for months something had shifted. She laughed less, texted more, smiled at her phone in ways she never smiled at me anymore. I noticed the change in her perfume, the way she started locking her phone screen as if her very soul lived inside it. And when I asked, gently at first, then with more edge, she turned it back on me. "God, Adam, you're paranoid," she'd snap. "Do you want to control every breath I take now?" I told myself I was imagining it, that this was marriage, the ebb and flow, the highs and lows. But that night when she told me to leave, it wasn't just a fight. It was a warning I didn't understand yet. The phone that confirmed everything. The next morning I found her phone on the kitchen counter while she was showering. I didn't go through it at first. I swear I didn't want to be that husband. But my hand hovered over it, and something in my chest ached. I tapped the screen. No passcode this time. Messages. So many messages. Not to me. Not to her friends. To someone named C. I scrolled. My vision blurred. "Last night was amazing. Wish he'd just pack up and go already. He suspects, but he's too weak to do anything. Soon, baby. Soon." I felt my knees buckle. I remember gripping the counter just to stay upright. The shower water upstairs stopped. I locked the phone, placed it back exactly where I found it, and walked out of the kitchen with my heart pounding so loudly it drowned out my own thoughts. I didn't explode. I didn't scream. I didn't even tell her that night. I watched her. I watched how easily she kissed my cheek when she left for work. How effortlessly she lied about late meetings. It broke something in me because I still loved her. A week later I finally asked her outright, "Claire, are you seeing someone else?" She didn't flinch. Didn't even blink. Instead she laughed. That cold, dismissive laugh that would haunt me for nights to come. "Oh, for God's sake, Adam. Again with this," she scoffed, rolling her eyes. "If you're so unhappy, pack your bags. Move out if you want." She turned back to her phone. Just like that. No denial. No effort. Just contempt. The breaking point. I didn't move out. Not right away. I started sleeping in the guest room. Started eating dinners alone. She didn't seem to care. Then one Thursday night she came home late. Hair tousled, lipstick smudged. She didn't even try to hide it anymore. "Where were you?" I asked quietly. She glanced at me like I was a stranger. "Out." "With who?" I smirked. "Does it matter?" Something inside me cracked. Not with rage, but with a cold, hollow clarity. I realized I wasn't waiting for her to admit it. I was waiting for me to let go. The decision. The next day I called in sick to work. I sat at the kitchen table with a cup of black coffee gone cold, staring at the wall until noon. Then I stood up, walked into our bedroom, pulled out a suitcase and began packing. Not in a storm of anger, but in silence. The kind of silence that comes after a long, unrelenting storm, when the damage is clear and the rebuilding is no longer possible. My watch. My grandmother's Bible. The mug she never let me use. Chidam felt like a goodbye. The final conversation. She came home that evening, keys jingling, humming a tune. She stopped when she saw the suitcase by the door. What's this? I looked at her, really looked at her. The woman I once swore to grow old with now looked like a stranger wearing my wife's face. I'm leaving, Claire. She scoffed again. Finally growing a spine, huh? I felt my throat tighten. I know about him. I've known for weeks. A flicker of something, fear, guilt, annoyance, crossed her face, then vanished. So what? She said flatly. You were never enough for me, Adam. I needed more. That cut deeper than any blade ever could. Then why marry me? I whispered. I shrugged. You were safe. Predictable. But people change. I picked up my suitcase, my fingers shaking around the handle. I hope he gives you what you're looking for, I said, my voice hollow. She didn't try to stop me. Didn't beg. Didn't cry. She just watched as I walked out of the home I built with my own 2 hands. Life after the storm. The first few nights were the hardest. A motel room, the smell of stale air conditioning, my phone lighting up with messages I couldn't bear to read. She texted once. You'll regret this. Don't think you can just walk away without consequences. I never replied. Instead, I filed for divorce. Quietly. Legally. Cleanly. Cut the joint accounts. Closed the chapter. But healing. Healing wasn't as simple as paperwork. There's a particular kind of ache that comes from realizing the person you shared your mornings and dreams with was never really yours. Not in heart, not in loyalty. The unexpected strength. Months later, I found myself walking the same cafe street we used to frequent. The air smelled of fresh bread and roasted coffee beans. I didn't go in. I just stood there, watching couples laugh inside, their lives untouched by the kind of betrayal that had hollowed me out. And I realized something. Leaving wasn't weakness. It was the first real act of self-respect I'd shown in years. I had been mocked, betrayed, discarded. But I was still standing. That had to count for something. Last week, I heard through a mutual friend that she and C didn't last. He moved on to someone else. She lost more than just me. She lost the stability, the comfort, the quiet loyalty she once mocked. And for the first time in months I felt. Not joy. Not vengeance. Just peace. Because I realized. Her betrayal didn't define me. My choice to walk away did. If you had told me a year ago that I'd be starting over at 36, I would have laughed in your face. I thought marriage was forever. But forever only works when 2 people hold on to it. I held on until my hands bled. She let go long before I saw it coming. So yes, I moved out. Not because she told me to, but because I finally chose to stop living in a home where I was no longer wanted. And in that choice, I found the first brick of the life I'm building now. One without lies, without mockery, without her. Sometimes, the bravest thing a person can do is walk away from the place they once called home. For Adam, packing his bags wasn't the end. It was the first step toward healing. Betrayal may break your heart, but it also shows you what you truly deserve. If this story hit close to home, remember, you're not alone and your next chapter is waiting for you to open the door. Thank you for watching Breakup, Cheater, where every ending is just the start of another untold story. Subscribe for more tales of love, loss, and the truths we often hide behind closed doors. Your story matters here. Because under the blood moon, no secret stays buried for long.